Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Rajya Sabha passes the long-pending GST Bill. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley terms legislation as one of the most significant tax reforms for the country. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh arrives in Islamabad for the 7th SAARC Home Ministers Conference. Pakistan-based terror groups including Hafiz Saeed's JUD and Syed Salahuddin's Hizbul Mujahideen hold protests. Maoist Chief Prachanda elected as Nepal's Prime Minister after winning clear majority. Major parties signed 3-point agreement promising resolution to Madheshi issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi invites him to India. And India versus West Indies second test ends in a draw after West Indies pull off miraculous escape on day 5. Gritty chase and holder frustrate Kohli's men. Indian bowlers managed to take just 2 wickets on the final day. Well, the constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill of 2014, which aims to roll out the process of setting up a GST regime, has been passed by the upper house. The government has said that efforts will be made to keep the new tax rates low, and the GST regime will make the taxation system more efficient and will increase the compliance. AIADMK opposed the bill and walked out before the voting on the bill took place. Here's more.
The system will be more efficient. It will be more compliant. There'll be avoidance is becoming more difficult because you'll be detected at some stage or the other. That there will be no cascading effect of tax on tax.
Replying to a 6-hour-long discussion on the constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill 2014, which aims to roll out the process of setting up a GST regime, the Finance Minister assured the House that both states and centre will have a say in deciding the new tax rate. Arun Jaitley also sought to address the members' concern on the grievance redressal mechanism.
Original bill spoke in terms of a mechanism which would be judicial or quasi-judicial in nature. Now, when it went to the standing committee spoke in one voice. And the standing committee said, and probably the spirit of what the standing committee said was, that these issues are predominantly political.
The Finance Minister also reiterated that the rights of states have been protected in this bill, but the AIADMK, which opposed the bill, walked out in protest.
The AIADMK's basic objection that it hits at federalism. As I have been repeatedly saying, that it's an exercise in which the centre and the states are both pooling in their authority.
With due respect to our Honourable Finance Minister, the demands made by our Honourable Chief Minister and the State Government of Tamil Nadu not accepted in toto by the central government, hence the AIADMK is walking out.
The main opposition party, the Congress, sought an assurance from the Finance Minister that the bills related to rollout of GST will not be brought in as money bills. However, Finance Minister said such an assurance is not possible since the draft of those bills is yet to be finalized by the empowered committee.
There's no reason to believe that the opposition will scuttle any responsible, reasonable bill. Therefore, please give us a categorical assurance that when the CGST bill and the IGST bill are brought to this House, you will bring it as a financial bill, and this House will discuss and vote upon it.
There have been precedents for the Leader of the House to arbitrarily, using discretion at the very last minute, declare bills as money bills. He did it with the Aadhaar bill, he did it with the private members bill. And sir, there is absolutely no guarantee that come November, he will not declare the GST bill as a money bill.
We will fully comply with the Constitution and whatever are the precedents, and we have absolutely no intention, of in any way bypassing the constitutional provisions as far as the requirements of those bills are concerned.
The bill was then passed by the upper house with amendments moved by the government. The amended bill will now be tabled before the lower house. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha Television. The landmark goods and services tax has come few steps closer to becoming a reality. Hailed as the biggest tax reform since independence, the One Nation, One Tax regime will convert 29 states into a single marketplace. After it's passed by Parliament and cleared by 50% of the state assemblies, GST will be implemented from April 1st, 2017. It's expected to increase the country's GDP growth. The adoption of the GST regime will make manufacturing cheaper, lead to lower prices of many manufactured goods. Services, however, could become costlier, which could lead to the reduction of the price gap between the organized and the unorganized sector. Let's now take a look at the items that could become cheaper after GST. Prices of entry-level cars, two-wheelers, SUVs may fall. GST is expected to remain positive for the automobile sector. Paints and other construction chemical companies will benefit from lower tax rate that will reduce their market price. Entertainment tax will come down, movie tickets will become cheaper. Electronics items like fans, lighting, water heaters, air coolers, etc. will get cheaper and these could become costlier. Let's take a look now. Cigarette prices as the GST rate for tobacco will be higher than current duties. Telecommunications may get costlier as service tax will go up. Textile and branded jewelry could become costlier. Certain items that are not covered under the GST will include petroleum products tax on alcohol consumption, stamp and customs duty, entertainment and amusement tax. Well, joining me on the program right now is the former Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Ajay Dua. Mr. Dua, good morning. Thank you for joining me on the program. Of course, the GST bill has passed the Rajya Sabha hurdle, but there's still a long way to go if it has to meet its April 2017 deadline, because there are two more bills that will have to be passed in the winter session of Parliament, followed by 50% of the states ratifying the bill.
Yes, you're absolutely right. There are 32 more legislations which have to be passed before the actual framework of GST can be rolled out. Of the 32, one is the very first one. Yesterday's the constitutional amendment passed by the Rajya Sabha now has to be passed once again with the amendments by the Lok Sabha, followed by the central GST bill once the council is set up after the constitutional amendment, then the IGST, the integrated goods and service tax, and 29 legislations by the state governments. That would, and all this would first, these bills would have to be referred by the President, the constitutional amendment to the states. Thereafter, all the bills would need to get presidential assent. So I do think that we are cutting it very fine if our aim is to get it by 1st of April. There would need to be almost on war footing the legislative work to be done, as well as the preparation for rolling out the GST.
Indeed.
And I would not like to see an imperfect bill coming in and the bill getting challenged in a court of law, and the judicial intervention might put back the clock completely if the matter were to be challenged and the challenge is upheld in a court of law. So it's probably better, to my mind, that we go about it systematically. There is certainly a lot of work done already by the model law plus the rules which have been put on the net, but a number of those things have to be tweaked in order to get a good workable GST.
Indeed, we do need a good workable GST, and there are several obstacles in the way. Let's hope that these obstacles are overcome in the near future. But as far as the GST itself is concerned, Mr. Dua, if it does come into being by April 1st, 2017, what kind of an impact is it really going to have on the common man?
I think the impact is going to be a mixed one. Wherever the service tax, today services are being taxed at 15%, that is most likely would go up to 18%, the standard rate which is being talked about, which would mean hotels, electricity, travel, all those things would become costlier than they are today. to that extent, and considering that 55 to 60% of the country's GDP is now service-based, there would be inflation with the introduction of GST coming from that side. There could be reduction in certain taxes or certain manufactured goods, which today are being levied a rate, total rate or incidence is higher than 18%. And to my mind comes automobiles, which today generally are attracting 24 to 30%. There could be lower rates on the things like FMCG products, consumer goods, and there could also be, I think, lower rates on the whole lot of general goods which get consumed by the common man. But having said that, I see a higher incidence on the small industries within the manufacturing sector itself, because today the small industry pays 5 to 6%, and if that gets hiked up to 18%, the rate which most parties seem to agree, but which the GST Council will finally suggest and recommend to the centre and the state governments, I think the impact on small industries would also be adverse. So, till such time as the evasion, because all this, to claim credit, there would be, apart from the fact that a very high degree of compliance expected from the customers who pay the assessees who pay the service tax today, or the goods tax. They would have many more returns to file, but they will be probably not paper returns. They would be able to do it online. The network would increase, the number of people who are paying the tax would increase, so that over time could help reduce the adverse short-term impact of introduction of GST. That's been the experience internationally in most countries, that the initial 2 or 3 years after introducing the GST, those have been inflationary, there have been inflationary pressure built up, but over time, because the collection is larger, more people are brought in, more transactions are brought in, it helps to bring in lower prices, and that could spur growth in the economy.
All right, Mr. Dua, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us on the program there and putting things into perspective for us as far as the GST bill is concerned. Well, moving on now, Minister of State for External Affairs, General V.K. Singh, on Wednesday assured that the government of Saudi Arabia is taking measures to help the thousands of laid-off Indian workers stranded in the country. Singh arrived in Riyadh to help the national workers who have been unpaid since months without money or food. He said more than 6,200 of them had been employed by troubled construction firm Saudi Oga, a conglomerate owned by the family of former Lebanese Prime Minister Saad al-Hariri, which had for months been unable to pay the workers' salaries. Singh also assured all help to more than thousands of unemployed Indians who he said were facing a food crisis. Earlier, the Consulate General of India in Jeddah claimed that it had distributed 15,475 kilograms of food over the past 3 days in association with the Indian community. The hardships faced by Indian migrants come amid rising protests about working conditions in Saudi Arabia.
The problem was only of one company, and the moment the government of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia realized what was happening, they have taken adequate measures to ensure that all people who are working in that company are taken care of. They have also said that all people who want to go back, they can go back at the expense of the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They will provide them passage. They have also said that they can file their claims, which our embassy will help.
Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh arrived in Islamabad to attend the SAARC Ministerial Conference on Thursday. Rajnath Singh is expected to raise the issue of cross-border terrorism and Pakistan's support to India's most wanted terrorist Dawood Ibrahim. But there is little or no possibility of Rajnath Singh having a bilateral meeting with his Pakistani counterpart Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan or any other Pakistani leader. Rajnath Singh was greeted with the protests by terrorist groups as he arrived in Islamabad. Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin took to the streets of Islamabad to lodge protest against Singh's visit. He also slammed the Pakistani government for welcoming the Indian Home Minister.
की बैठक आज दिनांक 3 अगस्त को संपन्न होकर समाप्त हुई इसमें आम सहमति से कई विषयों पर चर्चा हुई, विशेषकर टेररिज्म के ऊपर, और टेररिज्म के अंदर भी विशेषकर सार्क टेररिस्ट ऑफेंसेस मॉनिटरिंग डेस्क और सार्क ड्रग ऑफेंसेस मॉनिटरिंग डेस्क को शीघ्र से शीघ्र स्थापित करने में सभी देशों से निवेदन किया गया कि जिन देशों ने अभी तक इसके लिए सहमति नहीं दी है वे इसके लिए शीघ्र सहमति दें।
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The last 100 years, all of us got addicted to fossil fuels. We waited another 20 years, then the Earth's climate will be changing so rapidly that whatever we do or don't do will not help us. We have to start making changes now to transform the society which depends less on coal, oil and gas and more on solar and wind.
Watch Eureka with Professor J. Srinivasan, Honorary Professor, Centre for Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the BJP party president Amit Shah will be in Ahmedabad today to hold consultations with party leaders and attend the legislature party meeting to decide on the name of the new Chief Minister of Gujarat. Gujarat Chief Minister Anandiben Patel officially resigned on Wednesday by submitting her resignation to the state governor. This after her offer, to resign was accepted by the BJP parliamentary board that met on Wednesday in New Delhi.
The top leadership of the BJP met at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence in New Delhi on Wednesday to start the process of appointing the new Gujarat Chief Minister after the resignation of Anandiben Patel. The parliamentary board authorized President Amit Shah to pick the new Chief Minister in consultation with the legislature party. Two observers were also appointed to talk to local leaders.
The party has accepted her desire to resign from the chief ministership and then put it on record appreciating her leadership and the development she has done in the state of Gujarat. The party also has decided to send two observers, one Sri Nitin Gadkari, Surface Transport Minister, Senior Leader, former President, and Sri Susri Saroj Pandey, former MP and General Secretary of the party, Chhattisgarh. Both of them will go, but the entire process will be done in the presence of Sri Amit Bhai Shah.
Naidu also rejected reports that Amit Shah could replace Anandiben Patel, saying the party needs his leadership at the national level.
He is the party president. He is going to be the party president. The entire party want him to be the party president because the party needs his leadership. He has shown his capacity, his caliber, and in leading the party, he has taken the party to greater heights.
Other names doing the rounds for the post are Health Minister Nitin Patel, State BJP Chief Vijay Rupani, Union Minister Purushottam Rupala, and Assembly Speaker Ganpat Vassava, who is a Mas tribal leader.
विभिन्न पहलुओं पर विचार विमर्श के बाद जो जनहित में जो पार्टी हित में निर्णय होगा वो केंद्रीय पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड के निर्देशानुसार राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष को अधिकृत किया गया है और वो कल आएंगे, फिर 2 दिन यहाँ पर रहने वाले हैं और वो भी संभवतः यहाँ के सारे लोगों के साथ में टच में भी हैं, संपर्क में भी हैं और संवाद उनका लगातार जारी है। तो निश्चित रूप में वो उचित समझकर इस पर निर्णय लेंगे। बाध्यता कानूनी नहीं है कि विधायक हो या विधायक के बाहर हो, लेकिन जो भी सर्वानुमति और सबकी सामूहिक राय होगी उस पर वो निर्णय लेंगे।
Anandiben Patel announced her decision to quit on Tuesday against the backdrop of an intensifying agitation by Patidars and Dalits. She said it was time for a new leadership to take over as she was soon going to turn 75. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A heavy downpour has led to flash floods across Maharashtra. At least 2 persons drowned and 20 others are missing after a bridge collapsed on the Mumbai-Goa highway in Raigad district on Tuesday night. Nashik and other adjoining districts also experienced flooding due to the incessant rains. Here's more.
A massive search and rescue operation is on to identify at least 20 persons who are missing after a bridge collapsed on the Mumbai-Goa highway near Mahad in Rajya district of Maharashtra. 2 bodies have been recovered so far, even as around 80 rescuers and divers continue their search. Apart from NDRF, the Air Force, Navy and Coast Guard have sent aircraft and a Chetak helicopter for helping in the search operations. The 50-foot British-era bridge crashed late at night after floodwaters rushed into the Savitri River. Locals say the bridge was in a very bad state.
गाड़ी आ रही थी गोवा तरफ से, उधर पुल टूटा हुआ था तो उसमें गाड़ी गिर जा रही थी। गाड़ी गिरी, 3 गाड़ी को मैंने देखा और मेरे समझ में नहीं आया पहले कि ये पुल टूटा है या गाड़ी उधर ब्रेक लेके खड़ी है। तो तीसरी गाड़ी में देखा तो ये पता चला कि मुझे पुल टूट गया है, गाड़ी सब उसमें जा रही है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, assuring him all help.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji spoke to me this morning. He also assured all help from the central government. All our officials, teams are trying to handle the situation, and right now a desperate attempt is being made to locate.
2 passenger buses and 4 other vehicles are feared to have been swept away. Traffic has been diverted to the newer parallel bridge.
इतनी भारी बरसात थी और पानी का इतना जोर से आया था कि वो सब ब्रिज गया और उसके ऊपर हमारी जो 2 ST बस थी उनके साथ चली गई है। मेरे मालूमात से कुछ खाजी प्राइवेट कार भी उसमें से चली गई है, लेकिन आज तक पता नहीं चलता कितनी होगी।
The opposition has slammed the government and demanded a probe into the issue.
The government was not serious about that bridge. There are many other bridges in Maharashtra. If you go to see, they are in a very bad condition, in dilapidated condition. And if such rains keeps on going, you will see many more incidents happening. And I don't think the government is serious about it.
Meanwhile, in Nasik, severe flooding following incessant rainfall over the past 2 days has disrupted normal life. The Godavari River is flowing above the danger mark. City police have closed Holkar Bridge for vehicular traffic and urged people not to gather at the flooded sites. Besides Nasik, many other parts of northern and western Maharashtra have been experiencing heavy rainfall, with the situation being quite alarming in Thane, Raigad, Ratnagiri and west sides of Pune, Satara and Kolhapur districts. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the flood situation continues to remain grim in remaining parts of the country. In Bihar, 60 people have lost their lives as floods have affected 29 lakh people in 12 districts. The Ganga is flowing above the danger level in the Bhagalpur district. Government has set up 460 relief camps in the affected areas. The flood situation improved marginally in Assam on Wednesday, though 11 lakh people remain affected in 21 districts and 34 people have lost their lives. Meanwhile, 8 districts in Arunachal Pradesh are likely to face severe power shortage for at least 2 weeks in the coming days, as heavy landslides triggered by incessant rains have damaged Ranga Nadi zero transmission line, leading to its shutdown. However, restoration work is going on for immediate shifting of the tower to safer location to avoid power interruption to the 8 districts. Well, news now from neighbouring Nepal, where Pushpa Kamal Dahal of the Maoist party was elected as the new Prime Minister on Wednesday, a week after KP Oli stepped down to avoid a no-confidence motion. Prachanda will take out today and is likely to announce a small cabinet. Maoist chief Pushpa Kamal Dahal, better known as Prachanda, was elected as Nepal's Prime Minister for a second time on Wednesday. The 61-year-old CPN Maoist Centre chief was elected Prime Minister with a clear majority of 363 votes in favour and 210 against him. Prachanda was backed by the largest party in the House, the Nepali Congress, the United Democratic Madheshi Front and other smaller parties. The Prime Minister-elect promised to lead the nation towards economic development while working as a bridge between communities following deadly protests over a divisive new constitution.
देशको विकाससँग सम्बन्धित संविधान कार्यान्वयन निर्वाचनसँग सम्बन्धित कुरा हामी सबै नमिलिकन उपाय छैन। हामी एउटै ढुङ्गामा छौं, जति मतभेद र झगडा गरे पनि डुबे हामी यो सदनमा भएका सबै एकैचोटी डुब्नेवाला छौं। त्यसकारण हामी डुब्ने छैनौं, हामी पार गरी छाड्ने छौं।
Leaders of the three parties, Maoist, Nepali Congress and Madheshi groups, signed a three-point agreement promising that the issues of Madheshis would be addressed with utmost sincerity and through constitutional amendment whenever necessary. However, the Madheshi parties will only extend outside support to the government.
सरकार गठन भएको लगत्तै संयुक्त लोकतान्त्रिक मधेसी मोर्चा संघीय गठबन्धनको आन्दोलनको क्रममा तराई मधेसमा भएका हिंसा, हत्या, आगजनी, तोडफोड लगायतका घटनाहरूबारे सत्य तथ्य छानबिन गरी प्रतिवेदन पेश गर्न सरकारले सर्वोच्च अदालतका पूर्व न्यायाधीशको अध्यक्षतामा उच्चस्तरीय छानबिन आयोग गठन गर्ने.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Prachanda and extended an invitation for an official visit soon. Prachanda, the only communist leader to become the Prime Minister of the country twice, will take over as the 39th Prime Minister of Nepal. He was Prime Minister from 2008 to 2009 before a disagreement with the military over his attempt to sack the army chief brought his period in office to an early end. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, moving on to some sports news now. The Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, on Wednesday upheld the ban on Russian weightlifters at the Rio Olympic Games. CAS rejected the country's appeal against a ban imposed by the International Weightlifting Federation. The Russian team was banned last week after the federation said the integrity of weightlifting has been seriously damaged on multiple times and levels by the Russians. On Tuesday, CAS dismissed an appeal by Russian rowers in similar circumstances. Well, the second test match between India and the West Indies ended in a draw as Roston Chase hit his maiden test 100 to lead the hosts fight back. Chase scored an unbeaten 137 of 269 balls, while skipper Jason Holder supported him from the other end to see off the last session of the match. Against India at the Sabina Park in Kingston, playing only his second test, Roston Chase became the third West Indian to score 100 and pick up a 5-wicket haul in the same match. With 6 wickets to get in 3 sessions, India started favourites to wind things up. But at the other end, standing between India and their plans was Chase. West Indies, from a point where they were trailing by 256 runs, dug deep, lost only 2 wickets, took the lead and denied India a 2-0 lead in the series. For the first time since 1998, Jamaica has produced a drawn game and it needed a special innings. With 10 overs left and West Indies having taken a lead of 84 runs, Virat Kohli and Jason Holder shook hands and decided to settle for a draw. That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.